Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on the Flash film because we actually have gotten a bit of a subverted outcome, or just a subverted experience is maybe the best way to put it. So, of course, we know Ezra Miller drama has been going on for, I don't know, it feels like 27 freaking years. Like, it was going on before they even started filming the movie, and then it happened after they finished filming the movie as well. So we've been waiting to hear what was going to go on with Ezra Miller, because we knew that Ezra was going to court to fight a charge, I guess you could say, against burglary and larceny charges. Now, of course, you might be thinking, well, what about all that Hawaii stuff and the stuff with like that underage girl or whatever it was? That's not a part of this. That's a separate thing where, there were no charges. There was specific people that charged Ezra with this crime of breaking into their house and everything and stealing and stuff like that. Now, we'll have meant to have a court case that started I think in 2 days. I think it was Friday American time. So yeah, in about a day or two or something like that. That's when the court trial was meant to start. It wasn't going to be like a month-long case. It was going to be something maybe like a week or two, probably like a week. I don't know how long it would take. Not too sure about the American court system and how long things do take. But it was going to be a massive one. It was just that, had a big name in there with these type of charges and stuff like that. That's where the attention was and made it bigger than it, should be. But we're wondering, okay, well, what's going to be the outcome? Because the outcome of this, should have, you'd have to assume would somewhat dictate maybe what happens with Ezra in the role of the Flash and just that interpretation of the Flash going forward. So like, okay, well, this is going to be very interesting to see what happens. And it's come with a pretty interesting outcome, as I said. And as you can see on screen right now, Ezra Miller agrees to plead guilty in Vermont burglary case. Miller is expected to enter his guilty plea for a lesser charge of trespassing as part of an agreement to drop burglary and larceny. Now, the picture they use here, actually, it does say Ezra Miller appears via Zoom for a court hearing in Hilo, Hawaii in 2022. So I don't know if this is the most recent one or not. I'm not too sure. But obviously this is coming from NBC News, as you can see, but it says actor Ezra Miller is expected to plead guilty to a lesser charge of trespassing in Vermont after being accused of stealing several bottles of alcohol from someone's home. And that was apparently Ezra Miller's neighbor, who there was already issues there previously. So it wasn't a surprise that the neighbors charged Ezra rather than just have a talk to them. Miller, who uses they, them pronouns, allegedly stole the bottles just before 5 p.m. on May the 1st from a house in Stanford. Police announced in August. They were later charged with unlawful trespassing, 2 charges for burglary into an unoccupied dwelling, and petite larceny. A clerk for Vermont Superior Court confirmed to NBC News Wednesday that the parties have come to an agreement to drop the burglary and larceny charges. Miller is expected to enter his guilty plea at a hearing Friday in Bennington County Superior Criminal Court. Court documents show prosecutors are proposing Miller face 89 to 90 days in a suspended sentence, as well as a year probation and $500 fines. The maximum sentence for the burglary charge would have been 25 years in prison, according to the charging document. Representative for Miller did not immediately respond to comment. Miller's best known for his roles as the Flash, blah, blah, blah. Has been embroiled in a series of criminal cases over recent years. Yeah, we know. They pleaded no contest to 1 count of disorderly conduct and paid a $500 fine in Hawaii last year. So that's where that photo was from that we looked at earlier, at the top of the article, after yelling obscenities at patrons as they sung karaoke and grabbing a microphone from a 23-year-old woman. And then it just goes on to restate some of the drama that's been going on over the past, I guess specifically the past year, but as a whole the past few years. Now this is the big thing, and it's sort of a confusing one now, because I think a lot of people's thought process going into this Ezra Miller case and the outcome was that, okay, well, if Ezra is found guilty, then there's no chance for Ezra to be the Flash anymore. That whole guilty charge in the back of a lot of people's heads was that it might have met prison time, because as the article does say, the maximum sentence for this charge that Ezra had on themselves was 25 years. So though Ezra wouldn't have, it would have been surprising if Ezra got 25 years, there's still the chance that Ezra got, a year, 2 or 3 years, even a few months or something like that in prison. That was still a very likely option if Ezra was found guilty, along with a fine as well. because, you know, Ezra was only given a $500 fine. That is nothing to him. That is absolute nothing. That's like us finding a 50-cent piece or something, or what, like a quarter if you're in America, like a quarter in between the crack of your couch or whatever it might be. It's nothing to Ezra. So there's a lot of drama already from this backlash, or from this announcement and stuff like that. But it's very important to remember, it's not like the court threw the case out or something. This was an agreement between Ezra and the people that were filing the charges, who, as I said before, sorry, I'm pretty sure are his neighbors or someone within Ezra's neighborhood and stuff like that. So they've come to the agreement and everything like that, and lowered it to a charge of just trespassing, just because they probably felt that's more fair. But as I said, a lot of people's thoughts and processes around this was that if Ezra was found guilty, then no more Flash. But what about now? Because Ezra did plead guilty now to the trespassing case because the other stuff, or the trespassing charges because the other stuff was thrown away. So Ezra is guilty. So what does that mean now? I have no idea. I have no idea whether this is a terrible thing for Ezra, or this helps Ezra in any way, or it means nothing. And it's still up to Warner Brothers what they do. It's a confusing one, and I don't know if anyone actually has the answers. Now, we, of course, know that the first Flash trailer, the first proper Flash trailer that's, like, I guess, released publicly and that will play in theaters before movies and stuff like that, is coming out in, like, I think just over a month. I think the Super Bowl's in just over a month. It's coming out during the Super Bowl. And this is a big question with that, is like, okay, well, that's sort of when your promotional campaign officially starts. When that first trailer comes out, especially seeing that we're now into the year of the Flash, it's only 6 months away. Actually, 5.5 months. Actually, not even 5.5. Like literally 5 weeks, 5 months. Sorry, and a few days away from coming out. So we're into that period of, okay, this is where the promotional stuff starts. Due to this, announcement, and that this is what the charges are, and that Ezra's obviously not going to prison unless Ezra absolutely screws up during this suspended sentence period and this probation. You'd hope not, because Ezra's been pretty good since this one happened, and apparently all this like mental health treatment was happening. So nothing's happened since that point. So you'd hope that Ezra continues that for the next year. Fingers crossed, just for the sake of Ezra. But it does make you wonder whether Warner Brothers would feel confident enough to use Ezra in the promo material in regards to press tours and interviews and stuff like that. But I think that whole thing is a watch this space, might I say, type situation, because we don't know. We don't know what's going through Warner Brothers' heads, and even just what James Gunn's plans are for his DC universe. They might not involve Ezra. They might be like, hey, I'm just going to recast the Flash like I did Superman because I want to do it in a different manner. Maybe he wants to use Wally West. Maybe he wants to use Jay Garrick as his only Flash at the moment. Who knows what James Gunn wants to do? Maybe he doesn't involve Ezra. But as we've said, James Gunn apparently has only ever had good experiences with Ezra Miller. So, and also, if the Flash movie performs really well, Warner Brothers would be inclined to keep Ezra Miller on. It's a confusing thing, and I think this case and how it's transpired pretty much today probably makes that even more confusing for Warner Brothers. So it's going to be a very interesting thing to watch and see play out further. But as I've always said, I was always going to be happy with whatever the outcome was, because we only have limited information from what's appeared on the internet. We don't know everything that's going on, whether it's with Ezra personally and also the circumstances that led up to an action happening. So I was always going to be happy with the legal process and trust that. So yeah, hopefully Ezra behaves, because can't stuff up during that year probation. He wouldn't care about the $500 fine. He'll probably make that from someone watching, I don't know, one of his movies on a plane or something like that. So yeah, let's wait and see how this all plays out. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions about this. Do you think Ezra got off lightly? Do you think it's a fair outcome just because both parties agreed to it? What do you think about Ezra's chances of staying as the Flash now following this charge, even though it's guilty, but it's not guilty for the things that many people thought Ezra was going to be found guilty for when this whole thing was open? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it to show support, and you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.